Good morning, we're on the record. Good morning, everyone. As chairperson of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board for the District of Columbia, and in accordance with DC Code Section 2576 of the Open Meetings Act, I'm welcoming you to the regular scheduled meeting of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board. This meeting is being conducted pursuant to guidance made available by the District of Columbia's Office of Open Government regarding electronic meetings held by public bodies during the public health emergency. Pursuant to this guidance, notice of today's meeting was provided 48 hours in advance of the meeting on ABRA's website and on the district's central meeting calendar. The notice includes the time, date, agenda, and call-in or login information for public participation. This electronic meeting has been hosted by a WebEx account provided by the District of Columbia government. Please address any questions or complaints to the OOG at opengovoffice@dc.gov. My name is Donovan Anderson. I'm chairman of the board. I would like to introduce the other members of the ABC board who are also participating electronically pursuant to Mayor's Order 2020-054. Please respond when I announce your name. Mr. James Short.
Mr. James Short, present.
Mr. Bobby Cato.
Bobby Cato, present.
Ms. Rafi Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, present.
Ms. Jenny Henson.
Hanson, present.
Mr. Edward Grandis.
Yes, Edward Grandis, present.
The board has 6 members in attendance for the conduct of business today, and that constitutes a quorum. Before we get underway with today's hearing calendar, I need to make a few instructions very clear so that the conduct of these hearings is understood by everyone. There are 7 cases scheduled for today. Once your case is called, I will take a moment for our IT specialist to elevate the rights for each party to enable their camera and microphone. Then and only then will you have the ability to enable your equipment. If your case has not been heard, you will remain mute and your camera will be disabled. At the conclusion of each case, the parties will have the option to leave. If the party chooses to stay, all cameras and microphones for the concluded case will be disabled. Should you have any questions or require technical assistance during the hearing, please submit them using the question and answer feature or email simone.andrews2@dc.gov. Our first order of business today is a protest hearing status, case number 21 PRO 00015 on court, license number 108135. This hearing is canceled due to the submission of a settlement agreement for the board's consideration and approval. The next case in our calendar is case number 21 PRO 0017 Signature Lounge, license number 117485. Ms. Andrews, can you please elevate the rights of the parties for this case, please? I believe it's Mr. Bianco, Commissioner Meg Rogenstock, Commissioner Mike Silverstein, and Glenn Engelman of the DuPont Circle Citizens Association.
Sure. Stand by. Mr. Bianco's rights have been elevated. Mr. Engelman's rights have been elevated. Mr. Silver's rights have been elevated. And Ms. Wagensack, your rights have been elevated. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Andrews. Can I have everyone enable their camera, please? Mr. Bianco, Ms. Rogenstock.
I'm sorry. Bianco has logged in twice and I elevated the wrong one. Stand by.
Okay, thanks. Good morning, everyone. I would like everyone to please introduce themselves for the record. I need you to spell and state your name, and let's start with the licensee or the licensee's representative.
Good morning, Mr. Anderson and members of the board. My name is Richard Bianco. I am here on behalf of the licensee. My name is Richard and last name is spelled B-I-A-N-C-O.
Good morning, Mr. Bianco. Is the licensee joining us this morning, sir?
I believe he is, or he's watching. So if he hasn't been able to log in, he's probably watching on the public feed.
I was just trying to find out if we need to elevate his or her rights. That's why I'm asking. If it's not mandatory that they're here, but if they're here, if we need to elevate their rights, please let us know, and we'll have their rights elevated.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let's start with the ANC. Let's go with ANC.
Yes, my name is Meg Rogensock. I am the commissioner representing single member district 2B01. My last name is spelled R-O-G-G-E-N-S-A-C-K. And my district is the district where this application is located. And I'm joined by my fellow commissioner, Mike Silverstein, who has extensive experience in this and for which I'm grateful, and Glenn Engelman, who is a co-petitioner as the past president of the DuPont Circle Citizens Association.
All right, so let's go, Mr. Silverstein.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. My name is Mike Silverstein, M-I-K-E-S-I-L-V-E-R-S-T-E-I-N. I represent the ANC 2B06.
And good morning, Mr. Silverstein, and welcome, Mr. Silverstein. And if I'm saying more to Mr. Silverstein, that I served on this board while Commissioner Silverstein was a member, and this is the first time that he's appearing before me as a former member of the board. So I just want the public to know that I am aware. I've served with Mr. Silverstein, and most members of this board have served with Mr. Silverstein while he was an ABC board member. So I'm not saying that it's fun to see you in this role, Mr. Silverstein, but it's good to see you. So it's good to see you. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Engelman.
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Glenn Engelman. First name spelled G-L-E-N-N. Last name is spelled E-N-G-E-L-M-A-N-N. And I'm here representing the DuPont Circle Citizens Association.
Good morning, Mr. Engelman. All right, good morning. All right, are there any preliminary matters in this case that needs to be brought to the board's attention?
Mr. Anderson,
No.
on behalf of the licensee, we don't have anything. The parties have really come a long way in settlement discussions. I'm very encouraged. I think we're going to be able to get something done. We have only a few impediments remaining.
Thank you for that representation, Mr. Bianco. On behalf of the ANC, any preliminary issues that needs to be brought to the board's attention?
We have no preliminary
Mr. Chair,
matters.
no, other than to observe that we are grateful for the offices of the ABRA in facilitating mediation a week ago. Our principal concerns center around public safety issues. As Mr. Bianco has noted, I think we have arrived at a compromise on trash and noise issues. We are awaiting a revised draft from Mr. Bianco that incorporates the outcomes of the last mediation, and are looking forward to working with him in hopes we can reach an accommodation. The position of our ANC at the moment is that we are formally protesting the application pending resolution of those concerns in a satisfactory way in the settlement agreement.
Thank you for that representation. Mr. And on behalf of the DuPont Circle Citizen Association, any preliminary matters you want to bring to our attention?
No preliminary matters and nothing to add to the comments of Commissioner Rogenstack.
So just as an FYI, so if there is a settlement agreement, both the Citizens Association and the ANC would be signing off on a joint settlement agreement. I'm just asking.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. Then if there are no other preliminary matters, then this matter is scheduled for a protest hearing on June 30th at 1:30 p.m. All right, so now that we have scheduled this matter for a protest hearing, there are a few things I would like to instruct you about because the board's practices under the COVID-19 restrictions have changed. As you know, the board's hearings are conducted virtually, so it is more important than ever that protest hearings are focused and addresses only those issues that are being protested. Following this hearing, you will be receiving an email from April Randall that will include a copy of the protest information form and a copy of the exhibit form, as well as specific instructions for the hearing. You are required to complete and submit the PIP and exhibit forms at least 7 days before the date of the hearing. If we do not receive a copy of your forms 7 days before the hearing, your application or your protest may be subject to dismissal. These documents need to be submitted to aber.legal@dc.gov and to the opposing parties. Please know that these documents greatly assist the board in narrowing the protest issues, facilitating the process, and keeping the parties on point during the hearing. 3, each side is limited to no more than 5 witnesses, and you will only have 60 minutes to present your case. This includes all direct and cross-examination. The board does not intend to hear testimony on matters that are not relevant to any issue that have been protested. Any questions by anyone based on what was just stated? As I said before, I'm hoping that this does not go to a protest hearing, but you're only limited to 5 witnesses, and this matter would only, each side would only have 60 minutes if we were to go to a protest hearing. Is that clear?
That's clear. Nothing further from the licensing.
All right. Okay. All right.
It's clear.
Thank you very much then. All right. We thank you greatly for your cooperation. If you have any questions at any time leading up to the hearing, please do not hesitate to contact Assistant General Counsel April Randall at 202-329-6354. I want to thank the parties for their presence, for their appearance today. I wish you good luck in your settlement discussions. The board supports the parties settling matters, because if the parties settle the matter, at least we know that each side will be happy with the decisions that are made. But if the matter is unable to be settled, we will have a hearing in June. So if there are no other questions, thank you very much for being here today, and have a great day. All right.
Thank you.
Chair. Thank you, commissioners.
All right, you're welcome. All right. All right, thank you very much. I'm going to change up the order on our calendar. So the next case I'm going to call, I'm just switching the first and the 2 cases, but the next case I'm going to call is we're having a series of fact finding here. And so the first fact find that I'm going to call is Electric Kool-Aid. That's the first case that I'm going to call. Electric Kool-Aid, license number 112294. Ms. Andrews, can you please elevate the rights of the parties for Electric Kool-Aid?
Sure, stand by.
Thank you.
Mr. Schwartz, your rights have been elevated. Ms. Nigro, your rights have been elevated. Nigro. Mr. Jones, your rights have been elevated. That's all, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'd like everyone to introduce themselves for the record with, I'll start with the licensee. Can you please introduce yourself for the record and spell your name also too, please?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Benjamin Schwartz, SCHWARTZ. I'm the owner and general manager of Electric Kool-Aid.
Good morning. Then Miss, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name, ma'am, again.
So my name is Rochelle Nigro, Nigro. I am the chair of Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6E.
Good morning, Miss Nigro.
Hi.
And Mr. Jones.
Good morning to the board. I'm Investigator Earl Jones, EARL, last name JONES.
Good morning, Mr. Jones. This is a fact-finding hearing that we're having. One of the reasons why we are having a fact-finding hearing, a request was made to the board on behalf of Electric Kool-Aid regarding a change in hours and also for an entertainment endorsement. And one of the reasons why the board requested this fact-finding hearing, I believe it was in 2000, it was 2 years ago, at least in 2019, that Electric Kool-Aid had applied for a license. It's a new venue. They requested a license. They had asked for some specific hours. They had also asked for an entertainment endorsement. The license was being protested, and one of the reasons why, at least what was being told to the board, the granting of the license was being protested by the ANC because this was an outdoor venue. And so the ANC protested the hours that were being requested and also the granting of an entertainment endorsement. The board, in trying to come to a solution that would be a middle ground to try to address some of the community concerns, we did grant the license. However, the board did limit the hours of operation. And secondly, the board denied the request for the entertainment endorsement. Subsequently, so that was in 2019, the establishment is now open, and now our request is, we now have another request from the licensee requesting the initial full hours that they had asked for before and that they had asked for, and now they are also asking for an entertainment endorsement. It's my understanding that the ANC stated that in submitting a letter to the board, they had stated that they did not have a problem with the extended hours. However, as far as entertainment was concerned, that they would ask the board to grant an entertainment endorsement, limited the entertainment to trivia. So that's my understanding of where we are. And so what I'm going to do today is that I'm going to ask you, Mr. Schwartz, to just again tell the board what it is that you are requesting. Well, you know what, what I'm going to do is just tell us what it is you're requesting. And then once you tell us what you're requesting, then I'm going to call Mr. Jones to have him testify about what it is that he found as a result of the request, and then I'll get some input from the ANC. I just want to let everyone know this is a fact-finding hearing. No one is under oath, so you're not required to answer any questions because you're not under oath. This is just a fact-finding. The board is trying to gather information to see whether or not we should grant or deny this request. And I think one of the reasons why we had only issued this license is not even 2 years old, and when the board had issued a board order. So what it is has changed in this short period of time for the board to radically change its decision. So we can start off with you, Mr. Schwartz, to let us know. Just again, tell us about your business model. I know that I remember when this case was presented, it's an open air venue. I mean, I think a lot of us, at least I can only speak for myself, I was somewhat confused about your business, the type of business that you're operating, and since this is a business that's completely out, it takes place outdoors. So you can just tell us what your business structure is. How long have you been in operation? And I know that it appears that part of it you've been operating through COVID, which is a different set of factual situation. But just bring us up to date, please.
Sure, absolutely. I want to thank the board for having me here today to answer some questions for you. So we are applying to extend our hours. Our current hours are from 11 a.m. to 10:30 from Monday to Thursday. We're looking to extend that to midnight as the closing and ending operating hours from Monday through Thursday. On Friday and Saturday, our current hours are until midnight. We are trying to extend that until 2 a.m. We are also seeking an entertainment endorsement. to do trivia nights, to have a DJ there, an MC, to MC for if we'd like to host private events, and things of that nature. How our business works is we are on the corner of 6th and Rhode Island Northwest. We are an all outdoor venue that sells frozen drinks and other things in cans and snacks. We have food trucks that we work with. We currently have a roster of about 10, 12 food vendors that will vary depending on the day, and we run their menu through our POS. So how the operations work is it is all outdoors. People come in. I'm sure some of you have seen how lots of things have worked in COVID. People will sit down and there will be a QR code. And we have a number of staff on the floor, but people order through the QR code, both through the food truck and for the bar. And we will run the food and drink directly to them. While this was not part of our initial plan and model pre-COVID, we decided it is a pretty efficient way to run this type of establishment. So we will actually be continuing operations largely the same as we are right now.
Now, so you're only selling food because of COVID, is that correct? Because I'm just, so yeah. Do you serve food? I'm just asking.
We do not serve food. We work with food vendors, and that will continue. It's just better for everyone to have the food vendors there. And so we will continue to have food vendors. Without the COVID restrictions, it will be kind of nice for the food vendors to be able to leave before closing hours, because as of right now, the food truck is there for the entirety of our open hours. So the only thing that would change with that is that they may leave a little earlier.
So when did the business open?
It opened in beginning of July of 2020. And I believe when you had mentioned when we first applied for this, there was some hesitancy while there's support from the community at large, there was some hesitancy from some neighbors of abutting to our alley. I think we've demonstrated over the course of the year what kind of neighbors we are. I myself live about half a block away from the establishment itself, so I'm part of the neighborhood. And I believe, there was a number of concerns considering there are some establishments in this single member district that have not exactly been ideal neighbors. And I think there was some hesitancy to believe that we were going to follow down that same path. And we have shown to everyone in the community that is not the case. And we have gotten, specifically with this request to amend the hours, the people, the neighbors, specifically actually the ones that testified in the hearing, we had the ANC reach out to them. They are 100% in support of extending the hours and adding the entertainment endorsement.
I just want to ask you,
sure.
I know that because of COVID, we have had some truncated hours. So what has been your hours of operation since June of 2020?
It hasn't really truncated our hours at all, except for when the limit was 10 p.m. Then we obviously closed at 10 p.m. But we have been operating to the full length of our. COVID has not affected our hours at all.
So what were your hours? What are your current hours of operation?
From Monday through Thursday from 4 p.m. to 10:30. Friday from 3 p.m. to midnight. Saturday from noon until midnight. Sunday from noon until around 10 o'clock.
So so currently Friday is the only night that you are open till midnight. Is that correct?
Saturday as well. Saturday, we're
Oh,
open.
yeah, Friday. I'm sorry, Friday and Saturday you're open till midnight. Okay.
Correct.
All right, Miss, I'm going to change the order again. I apologize, Miss Miss Dyker. On behalf of the ANC, tell us where you are, ma'am.
So we are in support of the changes. We had a meeting. There was a vote of 5 for the changes and 1 for not, and there were no abstentions. So as a commission, we are supportive of the changes in the entertainment and the trivia night. So
There's some misunderstanding between, well, you're saying that as far as entertainment is concerned, you're asking for, you support trivia night.
yeah.
Mr. Schwartz is saying that they're asking for a DJ. So that's not, it appears that you're saying that I support entertainment, but it has to be, it's only limited to trivia. And it's, at least from what I'm hearing from Mr. Schwartz, he's asking for a larger, he's asking for more entertainment. He's just not asking for trivia, he's asking for more.
So the only thing that, I have my little letter that we supported was to allow the applicant to have live trivia nights events.
Right. So you don't support, so you're not supporting.
I wouldn't, I don't want to, speaking for the commission, I wouldn't say we wouldn't, but that's not what we motioned for. So.
And I guess I'm trying to get some clarification from the ANC, because remember when the license was issued, the ANC was against us providing entertainment endorsement, so the board did not. So here it is that we're now being asked for entertainment endorsement, and I'm not sure. I'm just trying to get clarification whether or not the ANC agrees with entertainment, or is the ANC saying that yes, we can have entertainment, however, it's only limited to trivia.
So you tell me, Mr. Chair, when you issue these rulings, do you just make it that specific that an applicant can only do one thing, like they can only have trivia night? Is that correct? Is that what you're telling me?
No, we issue an entertainment endorsement, and so once that entertainment endorsement is issued, he can have a DJ, he can have a band, he can do whatever it is with an entertainment endorsement. The board normally does not issue. Now, if there's a settlement agreement, the parties can jointly agree what type of entertainment that they require, but the board would not necessarily issue a entertainment endorsement to say it is only limited to trivia, because that's too, so the parties would have to tell the board, the parties would have to say to the board that, okay, this is what we agree to, and the board will then either yes or no, but the board would not say that, would not issue an entertainment endorsement to say that it's only limited to trivia, unless that is what both parties jointly asked for.
So Mr. Sorry.
Ms. Dagger, I think I have a compromise for us. I think that the big concern with the ANC and everyone was live music. I am very much okay with the stipulation that we do not have live music at the venue if you want.
So, but you have DJ. You just said
not a DJ, but an MC. So a DJ. Well, I say DJ because DJ falls into a pretty broad category. If there's an event and there is someone with a laptop that is controlling music, that is considered a DJ for ABC purposes.
So, Mr. Chair, I do not have the settlement agreement with me, so I don't know.
I'm sorry, there's no settlement agreement. There's a board order, and the board order says there was no settlement between the ANC. So there's a board order. The board order says no entertainment. Period. So
okay.
So this is a change that has been requested. So, and in order for them to have the trivia or whatever type of entertainment, somebody to play a piano, someone to sing, then they would have to have an entertainment endorsement.
But let me just for clarification. we could then and could do a settlement agreement with Electric Kool-Aid, being very specific about the type of entertainment?
That is something.
Saying, you guys, okay, because you're saying if you do this today, this ruling today with this hearing, that not that I don't believe you, Mr. Schwartz, but technically they could have then a band or a DJ or whatever.
And we're not. I'm not. I'll let you know. We're going to take this matter under advisement. So that I'm not going to issue a decision today. We're just gathering information. But in the interim, if the parties decide that the request was made, if the parties decide that okay, they want to settle, they want to sign a settlement agreement as far as entertainment is concerned, and in a settlement agreement that they state what is their understanding of entertainment, they can submit that to the board. The board will review it, and the board will say, yes, we can grant it, or no, we can't grant it because of some legal issues, and we will advise you on that. But the board, without having a joint agreement, the board is not going to say, we're going to issue an entertainment endorsement limited to trivia. The board's not going to do that. That's too specific. So, okay. But the board, you can, at the end of this hearing, both parties can reach out to April Randall. If you don't have her information, I have
April's information.
Okay, fine. So you can reach out to Ms. Randall, and she can talk to both parties about if you want to do a settlement agreement, what that would entail, and what it is that other ANCs have done, or what is, because one part of it is that from a legal perspective, whether or not we can say to someone, you can only have go-go, or you can only have classical music. The board is not in a position to set in community standards by telling the community you can only have a specific type of entertainment. The parties can come to the board and say, this is what we want to do, because therefore it's something that they have negotiated. So that's between the parties. But that's just general. I'm not saying the board is not going to grant the entertainment endorsement. I'm not saying the board is going to deny it. I'm just saying that this is just part of what we will discuss. But the only thing I'll say, the board will not issue a entertainment endorsement limited to trivia. That's the only thing that's the only definitive statement you'll hear from the board today regarding this.
Okay, Mr. Chair, and I thank you for that clarification, because that provided me some education today. And I think on behalf of the commission, I would feel comfortable continuing a discussion with Mr. Schwartz so that we have clarification about the type of entertainment, just for the comfort level of the community and for the commission.
And so you're saying, I'm sorry. So you're saying, as far as the ANC is concerned, the extended hours to Sunday through Thursday to 12 a.m. and Friday and Saturday to 2 a.m. that the ANC does not object to that. Is that correct?
No, we're okay with the hours. What did you say? Not object or object?
You have answered that. I said that the ANC does not have any objection to that. That's what I said.
Okay. No objection.
All right, thank you. Mr. Jones, good morning. I saw that you did some visits to this establishment. So good morning. Can you just tell us when is it you're able to visit the establishment and what it is that you were able, what it is that you're able to observe, sir?
Good morning again to the board and to the panel. I was able to visited the establishment on a number of occasions. However, they were closed during the hours that I had gone, but I finally was able to meet with Ms. Angela DeBracco, who is one of the managing members, on May 7th at approximately 9:20 p.m. That was on a Friday. I spoke with her and advised her that I wanted to conduct a regulatory inspection, as well as, letting her know my reason for the visit, which was to discuss the issues of the board and things that would come up concerning this hearing. At that point, she had started to let me know that she was fully aware of the certain restrictions on the license right now. She knew that They could not have, Electric Kool-Aid was not able to have entertainment at this point in time. She knew that the hours were restricted and that they had been adhering to all of ABRA's regulations as well as the mayor's orders. She stated that there are food trucks that are, I guess, food truck vendors that are partners with Electric Kool-Aid. They provide and prepare all the food. All of the bills go through the POS system. Patrons are seated at picnic tables under a large tent. What I counted was probably up to 18, 19 picnic tables, something to that degree. But patrons were all spread out over the venue. They were probably more than 6 feet apart. There was no indoor eating, dining area. The only indoor area appeared to be an area where there were staff members who were taking orders, drink orders, and there were staff that were going to pick up the orders from that area. So there was no enclosed area for dining. Patrons were wearing masks upon getting in, entering, and once they got to the table and received service and food, they then took off their masks. There was music that was being played, how it was at a very low level. She and I could clearly have conversation throughout any part of the venue without being disturbed by the music. And she showed me the iPad that the music is being played through, so there was no DJ. She advised that they do close at 10:30 during the week, where it had been up until 10 o'clock until the times had changed, and 12 o'clock during the weekends. Other than that, I had conducted a regulatory inspection. All their government licenses were up to date and current, and I had no violations at that point in time.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Do any board members have any questions of any party? Any questions any board members have of any party? Mr. Schwartz, let me just let me ask you a question. Since this is an establishment that doesn't have any indoors, where's the bathroom? Do you have a bathroom?
We do have a bathroom.
Since I'm told it's not an indoor facility.
There is a bathroom. We do not. While we do have buckets on the tables for trash, they are for trash only. So how the setup works, we have a bar structure. A semi-enclosed bar structure, and next to the semi-enclosed bar structure is a small 25-foot footprint of a building with bathrooms in it and an office underneath.
All right. So, all right. Now, I'm you know, when it was told, I'm like, okay, is there a bathroom? That's just for my edification. So it has nothing. It has no bearing on whatever decision that the board will issue today. I was just curious. And
Sure.
So how has business been during COVID?
Business is not as great as we wanted, but close to sustainable. It's part of the reason why we're asking for extending the hours is that hour on a weeknight is kind of, it could be the difference between us being able to, pay off all our debt in a timely manner, or kind of string it out a little longer. So, I mean, we on a Saturday we will be pretty busy all day, but most days of the week it is, when it's very nice out, we'll have a few people there. It's going well, but not gangbusters.
So who are normally, who are your patrons? Is this neighborhood people or people driving in? Yeah.
It is mostly neighborhood people. We found that almost everyone is walking to the establishment. There are a few people that will come via, via Uber, but it's largely people in the neighborhood. There is I mean, we are in a commercial corridor adjacent to a number of residential corridors. So we have, people coming from Logan Circle over, from Bloomingdale over, and from Detroit down to come to it. And I'd say that's the majority of our clientele.
Sure, thank you. One last question for the ANC. You said the vote was, I think, 5-1?
Correct.
What was the opinion of the ANC commissioner that this establishment is located? Was that person vote? I know the representative. I'm just curious. There was one person. Was it the single member district ANC that covers this establishment, or was it just a different commissioner who was in the ANC?
It was a different commissioner. Commissioner Lopez is the single member district commissioner for this establishment, and he is in support.
All right, fine. Do you have any other representation you wish to make today?
No.
No. Any other representation you need to make, Mr. Jones?
No, sir.
And Mr. Schwartz, you have the final word. Any representation, any further representation you want to make before we conclude this case?
No, just again, I want to thank the board for having this today, letting me answer as many questions as I could. I think we are extremely appreciative of the support that we've gotten from the community at large so far, and we would like to continue that and extend our hours to give our neighborhood and our community a place as the night goes on and its restrictions lift. I believe during our ABC committee hearing with the ANC and with our single member district commissioner, we did not, just as to go off what Commissioner Nigro had said, we did not clarify exactly what, if there would be any restrictions to the entertainment endorsement. The ABC committee did vote to support the entertainment endorsement as is, while we did have a conversation off the record with Ms. Nigro, I guess is on the record, about what our intentions are to use that entertainment endorsement. It was always our understanding that our entertainment endorsements were all or nothing. Yeah, I believe that concludes any information I have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Schwartz. The board will take this matter under advisement, but I let the party know that the parties you can reach out to both sides can reach out to Ms. Randall if you want to. If you want to agree to a settlement agreement, you can discuss settlement agreement with the hours and entertainment, and you can provide that to the board, and the board will review it and make a determination, or the board will make a determination outside of that on the proposal that's made. But I'm just saying, people, you are welcome at any point to do a settlement agreement. That's something that you're welcome at any point to. So it's not, I'm not telling folks that they need to do this. The board will make a decision. If you don't want the board to make a decision, then you can forestall the board from making a decision by saying, oh, by the way, I don't want you to make the decision. We have a settlement agreement. This is what we agreed to. And the board will always defer to what the neighborhood residents require.
Absolutely. Just to be clear to Ms. Nigro and the board, it is my understanding that the ANC's letter of support is for an entertainment endorsement and the hours. Is that not correct?
No, the ANC support. That's why I asked the question, because I read it. It says that entertainment endorsement for trivia. That's what it was, very specific. So that's why I'd asked the question. So it wasn't.
Interesting. Okay.
So may I say something, Mr. Chair? And on behalf of the commission, we want to work with you, Mr. Schwartz. You know that. So, but I think so. Yeah, totally. So I think with just further clarification with Commissioner Lopez and we all are on the same page and all that, I don't foresee a problem at all.
All right.
And maybe, and if there is no settlement agreement, we are all into our settlement agreements, as you know, so maybe that needs to happen, so.
But I said, the board will take this matter under advisement, and the board always supports licensees in the neighborhood speaking that they come to an agreement that works for them and for us not to make a decision. Okay, I like the easy way out. Okay, I like the easy way out. I don't like to make the decisions. You guys make the hard decisions, and we will say, okay, fine. So if it doesn't work out, you don't come back and say that ABC board sits downtown. They don't live in my neighborhood. They tell me what I need to do, and I don't like it. Okay, that's why. So I try to take the easy way out.
Okay.
But you tell us what is it you want.
Understood. I thought we were there. Could you just kind of enlighten me on the timeline for when the board would make a decision absent a settlement agreement?
The board doesn't have a timeline. We'll make a decision if the parties reach out to the board through Ms. Randall and said, oh, by the way, we're discussing settlement agreement. Can you give us 30 days to bring you a settlement agreement or something like that? I mean, we'll take our instruction from you. So if you reach out to the board and you tell the board that we're discussing settlement, can you hold on to a decision for whatever period of time, and we'll provide you a settlement, or hold on. Yeah. If so, it's up to you. So if you tell us that we're going to meet and we're going to discuss, and can you hold on a minute, please, then we'll do that. If not, we'll make our decision. But we're not going to make a decision tomorrow. I'll let you know that. So there'll be no decision issued tomorrow.
Okay.
You do have some time, okay?
Understood.
Because whatever decision, I'm sorry.
Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I will be able to get together very quickly with Mr. Schwartz and Commissioner Lopez to work this out. I know this won't be a long process on our side.
All right, and that's one of the reasons why we scheduled this matter for fact-finding hearing. This is one of the reasons why we scheduled and we invited the ANC, so everyone knows what's going on, so we can have input. So therefore, whatever decision we made, the decision has been made with the input of the community. Okay.
Understood.
So,
I do have one final question.
Yes, sir.
The change of hours application and the entertainment endorsement application were separate items on the agenda. Will they be viewed separately, or will they be viewed together?
The board will make a decision separately on each, so they're not tied together. So where you're asking for change of hours, and you're also asking for entertainment endorsement. And so whatever decision that the board makes, the board will make a decision whether or not we approve. Well, this is the process. We will say to the licensing that they can process the change of hours, or they can process or not process the entertainment endorsement. And so that's what it is. But as I've stated before, and one thing all parties can do, you can always go to as in this particular case, when you're requested, we get a letter from the ANC, and the ANC says that, and I believe that if there was no caveat on what the ANC stated, it would be smoother. I'm not saying that we would have changed the issue, the decision, because this, I'll say to you, my concern is that we only issued this license 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And because it was 2 years ago, and I know that the ANC was very adamant about not having the entertainment endorsement, and also not having the extended hours. So the board came up with a compromise by shortening the hour. We did not grant the entertainment endorsement because, as you said, this is an open air. This is an open air venue, and it's attached to residence. So that's one of the reasons why, right?
It is not attached to residence.
I'm sorry.
It is not attached to any residence.
Well, but it's an open air. It's an open air venue, and there are residents close to the venue. And any venue that's an open air, it's difficult to generally, it's difficult to control noise because it's an open air. Now, if it's a closed venue, then it's different because you can always close the doors, close the windows, and then the neighbors will not hear it in their homes. But with it being an open air venue, it is difficult for you to control noise because noise is going to travel. And we might say that this is a conversational level, but someone else who is in their residence and who has especially whose hearing is better than ours will say, I can hear this, I can't go to sleep in the night because I'm hearing the music. So or whatever it is that's going on. So that's one of the reasons why it's more challenging when you're asking for an entertainment endorsement for a venue that's outdoors. So that is why that's a little bit more difficult. But if the parties come to the board and say, that's what it is, we have agreed, then it has always been, since I've been chair of this board, it has always been my posture that we support settlement agreement because at least the neighbors can get together, the neighbors and the licensee can get together to say, this is what we can live with.
Understood.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much for your appearance today. And I said before, the board will take this matter under advisement, and if the parties so desire, they are welcome to reach out to Mr. Randall and let the board know what it is that they want to do. But we'll make a decision, but it's not going to be tomorrow, okay? Just to let you know, all right? So thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, the next case in our calendar is Kazera Lounge, license number 117490. And I know Miss Randall, I'm sorry, not Miss Randall, Miss Andrews, you'll need a couple of minutes to elevate the rights of the parties in the next case.
Sure, stand by.
Thank you.
Mr. Ebert, your rights have been elevated. Mr. Chair, there doesn't seem to be anyone else on the line for this case, but if anyone else is on the line for this case, please announce yourself in the chat and I will elevate your rights. That's all, Mr. Chair.
I thought that we were supposed to have had an investigator for this case. I thought Ms. Dantzler was supposed to.
How come I'm not on there?
I can hear you, sir. I can't see you, but whoever's voice that is, I can hear you.
Yes. Good morning, Chairperson. I'm Alan Ebert. Good morning, members of the board. I do have here, I'm the speaking on behalf of the applicant, and they are here with me. I don't know why my video is not working.
Do you want to log out and come back? Hold on. Go ahead, Ms. Andrews.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I didn't mean to cut you off, but Mr. Ebert, it seems like something is covering your camera.
Is that right? What's covering?
We can now see you, sir. But now you're frozen.
We have Ms. Mekes, she's the owner, and her manager as well. If they can pull in a little bit, but they're here as well.
Okay, good. We can see you. Okay, fine. All right, fine. All right.
Mr. Chair, I've elevated the rights for the investigator, Ms. Dantzler. I also see a message in the chat for Mr. Adonich. I'm going to go ahead and elevate their rights, okay?
All right, that's Mrs. Adonich. She's the preparer of the license, and she was expediting.
All right.
Okay, that's all, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. So I don't see you, Ms. Dantzler, and neither do I see. Yes, okay, Miss. All right. So the only person I don't see is Miss Adonich. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Thanks. All right. Let me have everyone introduce themselves for the record. Let's start with the the representative. Let's start with you, sir, and then you can introduce who's with you.
Sure, thank you. My name is Alan Ebert, A-L-L-A-N, Ebert, E-B-E-R-T, for the applicant.
And who's with you, sir? Who is the applicant?
And with me is the owner of the business. Her name is Mekdes, M-E-K-E-D-E-S, Yehulashet, Y-E-H-U-A-L-A.
Mr. Let
Oh, let her say it?
them,
Sure.
let them introduce themselves for the record, please, and spell their
Sure,
names.
my apology.
All right.
My name is Mekdes Yohanashet. My name is Mekdes Yohanashet.
Can you spell your name, please?
Okay, M-E-K-E-D-E-S, Yohanashet, Y-E-H-U-L-A-S-H-E-T.
And who are you, ma'am?
Owner Kazira.
Okay. Who else is there?
Hello.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Dawit Fasil, D-A-W-I-T, first name, last name is F-A-S-I-L. I'm the manager of Kazira.
I'm sorry, spell your last name again, sir.
F like Frank, A-S-I-L.
Speaker.
And who else do we have on the line?
Okay, my name is Adanesh Gavrameskal, A-D-A-N-E-C-H, and my last name is G-E-B-E-R-E-M-A-S-K-E-L.
And who are you, ma'am?
I am the one to submit the application to Abra.
All right, thank you. Ms. Dantzler? Ms. Dantzler?
Yes, sir.
Can you identify yourself for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Felicia Dantzler, Abra investigator.
I'm spelling it, just spell your name for the court reporter, please.
Sure. Felicia, F like Frank, E-L-I-C-I-A, last name Dantzler, D like David, A-N, T like time, Z like zebra, L-E-R.
All right, thank you, Ms. Dantzler. All right, one of the reasons why we're having this hearing here today, it's because the purpose of this hearing is not on an incident that occurred. The purpose of the hearing, it's because apparently there's a transfer application, and an incident occurred, and there was an owner of an establishment, and as far as Abra's record is concerned, we are not familiar with who this owner is. And so therefore, because Abra is not familiar with this owner, an incident occurred, and it became apparent to Abra that there was a sale or something happened. And so I'm just trying to find out who is this owner of this establishment, and whether or not this person can qualify to be an owner of the establishment. And so one of the things that we can get some clarification on is who is the owner. Give us some background. When was this business? When did she purchase this business? What type of training, if any, does she have in running a business? And basically what's going on. The incident, so we don't necessarily, the purpose of this hearing is not to, we might talk about the incident that occurred that brought this to the attention of Abra. However, that's not the focus of it. The focus is on the transfer application itself, and whether or not this is an owner that the board believes that we should allow licensing to move forward. And again, this is not a qualifications hearing. We don't know who this person is, and we wouldn't have known that there was a change in ownership unless there was an ABRA violation, and the ABRA violation occurred while this now new owner was running the establishment. So whatever you want to share with us, sir, about when as the representative, when all of this occurred, as far as the new ownership, when is it that, can you tell Mr. Ebert, I can't have you speaking in the background. If people are going to be talking in the background, you need to put your phone on mute. And and also this is what I need to occur. Well, in this particular case, you're their representative, so most of the questions I'm going to address to you. If you're unable to answer them, if the owner needs to talk, then they can. But as a representative, then I'll address most of my concerns to you. So maybe you can start off by telling us who's the owner of the establishment and when is this person bought this business? Tell us about it, and where are we when if any did they submit a transfer application to the board, and did they know that they were supposed to do this? I mean, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Chairman and board members. The previous owner, whose name I believe is Tekliab Abdu, sold.
Hold on, sir. He's, as far as ABRA is concerned, he is still the owner of the establishment. Okay, as far as ABRA is concerned, he's that's why we're having this hearing. That is the only owner that's on our records. We do not know who this owner is but for the event, as far as we're concerned, the owner of the establishment is the person that you are referencing as the previous owner. But as far as ABRA's records are concerned, that person is still the owner of the establishment. Okay?
Well, submitted, if I may proceed, if submitted with the application, to the best of my knowledge, and Ms. Gabriel Mescal can support or not that, was the contract for the sale. The business sale occurred in September 2020. There was a contract between the parties where the lady with me right now, Ms. McDess, purchased from Mr. Haptu the premises at a specific amount, and then also had an agreement with the landlord that was dated September 1st, 2020 to proceed and can.
I can't hear you, Mr. Ebert.
Can't hear me. Okay.
Okay, you were frozen. Go ahead. You can go ahead. You're saying the landlord. Something happened with the landlord.
Okay. So following the business sale, the purchase by Ms. Mekdes from Mr. Habtu by contract, she also got an agreement from the landlord dated September 1st, 2020 to assume ownership of the business and to run the business at the same premises, 3013 Georgia Avenue Northwest. She proceeded then through Ms. Gabriel Mescal to file an application. She's also incorporated the business Kazira Inc., trading as Kazira, and has a placard at this time on the window. I believe it was April 5th. It was put up there. I could stand to be corrected. And is and has the ownership, the lease, the corporation's established, has her EIN number, and has a placard, and not quite sure. She also, if I may add, she has experience having run a similar business, but not in the United States. She's from Ethiopia, and she has run a similar business in Ethiopia. She may be better suited to answer that in more depth, but in terms of her experience, that is her experience, and and I don't know if a background check is being done, but she has, said there's no violations and no criminal record or anything of that nature.
I'm trying to get some information. So you're saying that do you know when? So when in September did she purchase this building? September when? I mean, if she can tell us, when did she purchase this building? September when?
September 1st.
So she purchased it.
2020.
So when did she sign it? So when did she sign the lease with it? She purchased and signed the lease the same day?
Same day.
So September 1st, she purchased the building, and on September 1st,
signed a new lease with the landlord, Mr. Saloso, the owner of the building.
so when did she file a transfer application, or when was a transfer application filed with Abra?
Adonis, could you answer that? She filed the application.
Hold on, yeah, go ahead.
January 8th, the application is submitted.
So January 8th of when? What year?
2021.
So Miss, state your name again for the record, ma'am.
My name?
Yes.
Adanech Gabramaskal. AD.
No,
I
just want Miss Gibber Miskill.
Yes.
So why is it that if she purchased the property in September, why did it take you till January to submit an application to APRA?
The purchase agreement was based on the document what I have. The purchase agreement was August 13, 2020, and the lease was made on September 1, 2020. And after she got the lease, and she provide all the required or the supporting document, and I submitted the transfer application on January 8th.
No, but I'm just saying you're saying that in August was the purchase agreement. The lease was signed in January. So was the business been operated in August, in September?
No, she purchased the business in August, and she got the lease in September. And the processing, whenever after the client get the lease, and there is a time frame to process the ownership change and to get the basic business license. And her basic business license, I think, finalized in March. I think I have to make sure if I can check my document if you give me little time.
Sure.
Okay, just give me 1 minute, and I will provide when is the basic license is issued.
I have it right here, if I may.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, the basic business license is dated, the date it was issued is March 17th, 2021.
Thank you, Alan. So
Sure.
the basic license was issued in March because of there is a lot of paperwork submitted to DCRA, and there is a health inspection, and after all that process, she got the basic business license in March 17. And in the meantime, we submitted the liquor license application, and we just waiting. We are just submitted all the required document, and now we are just waiting until the license is issued.
But let me ask you a question. So when did this business start? When did she start to operate this business? When she purchased this business, you're saying she didn't have a basic business license until March. So when was she operating this business?
After
She's not
she,
operating. She's not operating. It's closed.
No, since when? Okay, let me ask you a question. All right. One of the reasons why we're here today and we're not getting into the factual situation is that there is a violation. A violation occurred. And so because of so what I'm saying is that once she bought the business, when did she start operating the business? When was this business open and she's saying to everyone, this is my business? When was her first day of operation?
you know,
My understanding.
She's right there. Let her tell us. When?
Let her answer. Let her answer this. Did you operate the business after you purchased? When did you start operating the business?
No business, no.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You folks need to get yourself. You need to get your story straight. Okay. All right. A violation occurred somewhere about March 21st. Okay. That's why we knew that the business was sold. When is it you purchased the building, you signed the lease? When did you start operating? When is it that you told folks that I was the owner of this business? When was the first day that this business opened? When?
Ask her in Amharic. Adonis, can you ask her in Amharic?
Yes. መቼ ነው ጀመርሽ የሚሉሽ? ዋናው ነገር መሰረታዊ ላይሰንሱን ያገኘሽው ማርች ስለሆነ ምግብና ምናምን ያኔ ጀመርክ ማለት ትችላለሽ። ሊከር ላይሰንስ ግን አላገኘሽም። ምንም ነገር ሸጬ አላቅም፣ አግኝቼ አላቅም።
አልሸጥኩም እኮ። አዎ አልሸጥኩም ምንም ነገር።
ዋናው ነገር ምግብና መጠጥ ሄልዝ ኢንስፔክሽን አልፈሽ ስላለፍሽ ያንን ትንሽ ነገር አደርግ ነበረ። ግን ቤዚክ ላይሰንስ ካገኘሽ በኋላ ከዛ በፊት ምንም አልሰራሽም። ስለዚህ
ምንም አልሰራሁም።
ስለዚህ ከማርች ኦኬ go ahead. I'm sorry. Hello?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Speak.
I'm trying to address trying to inform her in my language.
Can you tell us what she said?
She said on she never conduct any liquor license because she don't have any license.
Hold on. Let's stop right here. We're gonna stop right here. Okay.
All right. No, wait. Let me interrupt. She didn't have any business. And if the investigator has some other opinion, let's hear from the investigator.
Right.
She didn't open up. She didn't even have a cash register.
All right. Hold on one minute. All right. We have Ms. Nansler and we have Investigator Bashir. Okay. We are not. The purpose of this hearing is not to address specifically what happened. I'm sorry, what happened. So either Investigator Dansler or Bashir, how did this, can one of you please let us know, how did this establishment come to your attention? Who is the person can answer? And just provide some background information.
I can speak to that, Chairperson.
Thank you, go ahead.
Basically, on March 21st, I was driving on Georgia Avenue and I observed a large crowd heading into the establishment. Contacted Investigator Dansler, we contacted MPD. We could not gain entry to the establishment. It was operating after hours. We went into the ABRA records and found that Mr. Teklia Habtu was the owner. We contacted Mr. Habtu.
Mr. Bashir, hold on. I need everyone to have their phone on mute, except for Mr. Bashir, okay? Go ahead, Mr. Bashir.
So we went into ABRA records, determined that Mr. Teklia Habtu was the owner. Investigator Dansler was able to get him on the telephone, and he informed us that he had sold the business previously and was basically done with it. And he provided the name, and I apologize if I mispronounced this, Nekbetis Yahambat as the new owner. and we were informed that this individual was at the establishment. Mr. Habtu attempted to contact her to let us in, but received no answer. Once gaining entry to the establishment, we finally got in. There was another individual who claimed to be security named Kyle Brown, who stated that he had an intention to buy the establishment. So that's how we came to where we are today. Looking through ABRA records, at the time of this incident, March 21st, there was no, speaking with the licensing officer, they had sent a deficiency letter with regard to the application, and there was no temporary operating permit. And according to Mr. Habtu, he had sold the business.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brashears.
Yes, sir.
Let's go back. What language is it that the licensee speaks? What language is this, please?
Amharic.
Amharic? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. All right. The question that's now being asked, Mr. Ebert, you said you're the representative. Who was running the business? The business was in operation on March 21st, 2021. Miss Yeshenek, Y-E-H-U, Miss Yeshenek was the owner of the business on March 12th, 2021. That's based on what was in the record. She purchased the property. She purchased the property, the purchase agreement in August. There's a purchase agreement in August. She got the lease September 1st, 2021. She got a basic business license March 17th, 2021. And I was also told that initially a transfer application was sent to ABRA on January 8th, 2021. What was going on? Who was superintending the business on March 21st, 2021? I can't hear you, sir. You're muted. I can't hear you.
Okay. You're right. Thank you. Sorry. I have been recently brought into this, Mr. Chairperson, and it was when I have come here to the restaurant, I have not seen anybody. The information you are now presenting and which Investigator Bashirs has presented is completely new to me, and I have not even had a time to discuss this with her. What happened on March 21st? Why are they bringing this up today? This is, can I have some time to speak with her, or can we, I can find out, because she's not clear on exactly, she's saying nobody was here, but now he even brings up another potential owner. I've never heard of this.
Listen, we scheduled this fact-finding hearing because so why are we here today? You don't know why we're here today?
We're here to say she's the owner. She bought the establishment.
Okay, fine.
She's the owner, and it hasn't been open. So
yeah,
I'm not sure what he's talking about.
But wait a minute. Now,
yeah, I mean, what can I say?
Mr. Ebert, are you an attorney, sir?
No, I'm just the executive director of 9th Street Association.
So you're not an attorney?
She's a member.
I'm saying
she's a member of the group.
So you're not an attorney, right? Is that correct?
Not a practicing attorney, no.
Okay, all right. Because if you were an attorney appearing in front of me today, sir, I would have something else I would say. But since you're not an attorney, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. This is a fact-finding hearing. The problem that I'm having here today, I don't care about the incident that occurred. That's not the purpose of this hearing. I'm trying to find out who's this owner of this establishment, okay? And I ask one basic fact. The person who presented themselves to me today stated a lease agreement, a purchase agreement was made on September Miss, I'm
August
sorry,
30th, yeah.
August 30th.
Correct myself, August 30th.
The lease was signed on September 1st.
Correct.
A transfer application was signed on, was submitted to the board on January 8th, 2021. A basic business license was issued to this owner on March 17th, 2021, okay? I'm being told by the investigator that on March 21st, 2021, an incident occurred at this establishment, okay? I'm now being told that's not true. The business wasn't open. There is no way something could have happened on March 21st, 2021, because the business was closed. Now, our investigator, Mr. Bashir, just testified he was driving on 9th Street. Something occurred. They investigated. The business was open. And we contacted, we went to our records. We contacted the owner who we thought was the owner. He said, oh, by the way, I sold the business. So I don't understand how the owner is telling me that a business that she operates, that she owns, that she signed a lease, that I don't know what happened. Well, the business wasn't open on March 21st.
It wasn't open.
So if it wasn't open, what did our investigators see on March 21st? What did they see? What? Are you telling me that it was phantoms? That did we go to the wrong address? Mr. Bashir, Mr. Bashir, our Miss Ansler. Can you tell us what address did you go to on March 21st?
We went
Yes,
to 3013 Georgia Avenue Northwest.
Mr. Ebert.
Yes.
What's the address of the establishment that's owned here? What's the address?
3013 Georgia Avenue Northwest.
All right. And
all right.
And the person that you represent, she represented that she's the owner of 3013 Georgia Avenue Northwest. Is that correct?
Correct.
And our investigator says that on March 21st, 2021, they went to 3013 and there was some activities going on in that building. Is this place open? Was this place open?
All right. Can I hear one question? Have her tell you something?
You can hold on.
I'm sorry.
Do you want us to hear the question that you're asking her? You can put yourself on mute.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead. Sure, go ahead.
Mektas, when is your birthday?
No, it's not.
When is your birthday? Or when?
My birthday?
Yeah.
June 10th.
And what was the occasion on March 21st?
No, my.
What's the occasion on March 21st?
My friend.
What about your friend? What happened?
Birthday. My friend birthday. Just she eat dinner, just birthday cake, everything here.
And why did you have the birthday here? Huh? Why did you have the birthday here? The birthday party here. Why was it here?
I did it because of my friend.
Hold on. You know what? Nobody's on a. I'm sorry. Hold on. No one's on the oath. And you know, I'm gonna bring this here into an end. You folks need to get your story together. Okay, well, this is what I'm gonna do. All right. This matter was scheduled for a fact-finding hearing today. I'm going to continue.
Not incident, fact-finding.
Fact-finding because we found out on March 21st, 2021, that there was an event that occurred at this address. We went to investigate. and we are told that there was a new owner, that the person that the board contacted as the owner said that I sold the business. I'm no longer the owner. Here it is, there's a transfer application for the new owner that was sent to the board. Now we're having a fact finding hearing just to get some background information from this owner, and the owner is saying to us that the business was not open on March, that there was nothing to see on March 21st, 2021. I don't know what you're talking about because nothing occurred there. There was no operation, it wasn't open. So
Correct.
someone is not telling us the truth, okay? I don't know who
We had
it
a
is.
birthday party there. We just told you.
Sir, you asked her date of birth. You're asking her some questions. She's saying, my friend. She never said that we had a private party for my friend's birthday. She's not saying that. Even to this moment, she's denying that nothing happened. So this is what I'm
She
going to
just
do.
said she had a birthday party, sir. If I may correct you, please.
I'm sorry. I don't get that. And this is what I'm going to do. Okay.
Wow.
We're going to continue this fact finding hearing. She speak to what language does she speak?
Amharic.
Amharic. You need to tell her that she needs to request an Amharic interpreter for this hearing. She needs to request that from the board. You can still be her representative, but I'll need to make sure that what's being said to her is been translated to her in her native language so she understands. She's coming to the board to get a license, and I'm not comfortable moving forward because if we cannot agree that on March 21st, 2021, something happened, then there's really no reason for us to move forward. I should not have gone to this hearing. I should not be involved in this hearing for almost 20, 30 minutes. And people are saying nothing happened on March 21st, 2021 because the business was not open. Okay?
Well, why are you interpreting it that way?
That's what I was told. You told me
It
you
was
didn't know enough.
not. She said it wasn't open and she had a birthday party. She
It's
doesn't
okay.
see that as being open.
Okay, and
It's
that's the
not
problem.
open.
And that's the
It's her
problem, sir.
place.
Listen. What's your role, sir? I'm sorry. Who are you? I'm sorry. Who are you?
I'm Alan Ebert, Executive Director, 9th Street Association. As I introduced myself,
Okay.
I represent her. She's a member of our nonprofit organization. We are set up and established 3 months ago to advocate on behalf of the businesses, especially 9th Street, which we will be familiar with. And that's why I'm here with her. She's a member of our nonprofit organization.
And the reason why I have a problem with that, sir, it's the statement that you're making that the business wasn't open. If you're the executive director of the 9th Street Association, you need to tell your business folks that if they have an ABRA license or in the process of having a license, the business is always open. You can't have a private party. If you have an ABRA license, you can't have a private party and say, oh, it's a private party. We can still go there. You still have to operate. So she's saying that we weren't open. And that is the fundamental problem that I'm having. She's not even admitting that the business was open. Yes, tell the board that I had a birthday party. Okay, I did not know that, yes, it wasn't open, it was a private party, it was a birthday party. But don't say that nothing occurred that day. Don't say, why do I have to ask the investigator what address they went to? Because she said nothing went on there that day. That's my problem.
Well said, well taken.
I should not go to 20 minutes for her to say, oh, yeah, you know what? I was having a birthday party for a friend of mine. No. We don't do that here. You need to be upfront. I did not know. I know that I wasn't operating, but I opened this one. I don't know what it is. But I should not have to ask the investigator what address they went to. And when I asked the investigator what address they went to, then she's like saying, "Oh yeah, well," and I'm still unclear. So we're gonna pause this right here. You can find out from her exactly what's going on. The purpose of this hearing is not to address the incident that occurred on that date. It's to more so address her transfer application and whether or not we believe that she can get a license to transfer. And I'm not in a good position because she's not being truthful here or she doesn't understand. And so that's one of the reasons why I want her, when we're having this conversation, it's been translated to her in her language. You can still represent her, but at least everything that I say is being transferred to her in her native language so she can understand. That's what I need to occur. So that's why I'm pausing this hearing today. I will ask the agency to provide you another date for us to continue this hearing. You'll have an opportunity to sit down with her and talk to her. I will ask the agency to provide you with a copy of the investigative report. So at least you will know. But again, the purpose of the hearing is not to address the investigative report. It's just to establish that the business was open and who was operating the business on March 21st. And was that the only day that the business was open? That's all. Okay?
Thank you.
Is everyone clear? So the agency, thank you. So the agency will provide you another date to have this hearing. And can you please request an interpreter from the agency in her native language, so one will be here to provide for her, okay?
Sure, I will do that.
Thank you very much. All right.
You're welcome.
All right.
May I have one comment?
Yes, sir.
I see you're a little agitated, and I hope it's because of me, not because of her.
No, but you see, no, it's not because of her. And that's one of the reasons, sir, that's why I asked you if I know you're her representative, and I asked you if you were an attorney, because if you were an attorney, I would have unloaded on you. I would have done that. But since you're not an attorney, you're just a representative, I'm fine with that. So therefore, I'm not going to unload on you, because I said one of the basic questions that I was asking is that you said you couldn't answer, in the sense that you wasn't sure. So that's why I pulled back. This is not on her, it's the process. I don't think she understands. And so that's one of the reasons why I believe we need to have an interpreter who can speak to her in her language so she will understand the seriousness of what we are and what she's requesting from the board. And in the interim, I don't know when we're going to have this, I don't know when we're going to have the hearing, but I need her and everybody that's in this case. The Aber is having a training on May 18th at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
On a new license, the process to get a license. I'm putting people on, put folks on notice that they need to come, they need to go to our website. They need to go to our website, sign up for this training and participate. And I also think, Mr. Ebert, it probably will be also good for you too, because as you said, your nonprofit is only 3 months old. And I believe that if you're going to assume this role as represented in businesses on your block, on the 9th Street, that it would help you that you know what some of the expectations are of your clients. When I say clients, I mean the business on the block. What is it that ABRA expects from them? That's all. It's just to help you, to give you some background information, sir.
I appreciate that very much, sir. I really do.
All right, so May 18th at 10 o'clock, they can come on the website and register for it and participate. So at least they'll have a little bit more background, but we'll let you know, we'll let all the parties know when the hearing will be continued for, okay?
Okay, just if I may, in closing that, I did have communication with Ms. Randall when I found out about this about a week ago, and she had gotten back to me and said there was a question about ownership, and I didn't realize there was an incident, but I just tried to look over the 71 pages of the application and attachments to see why there would be a question about ownership, who owned it. And I saw, a business contract. I saw her incorporation. I saw her, the the lease. I saw everything seemed appropriate. I had no idea, and I apologize for that. And obviously, she was she didn't understand, and having an interpreter would be, of course, very necessary. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. And so when Abra said there's a issue with ownership, is that as far as Abra's records are concerned, the change in ownership hasn't been approved by us. And so therefore, until and unless Abra changes, approves transfer the license, the owner of the establishment is the original owner, is the person that she bought the business for. He is still, as far as Abra is concerned, any incidents that occurred, that person is still responsible because the license is still in their name. Until and unless the transfer goes through, they are not supposed to operate. It's the old owner who's still running the business.
Right, good point. Now I understand, and I can see why you told me in the beginning, I don't want to hear about the previous owner, Mr. Habtu. That's not the point here. Gotcha.
All right.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. We're recessing this proceeding to be continued at a date to be determined. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right then. All right.
We're all done?
Yes, sir. We're done.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. All right. The next case on our calendar is a fact finding hearing on Villa Toscana, license number 100312. And Ms. Andrews, can you please elevate the rights of this licensee, please?
Sure, stand by.
Thank you.
Are you? Mr. Chair, the licensee is not on the line.
All right. Licensee is not on the line. All right. And there's no one on who has identified himself as the owner of Villa Toscana.
No, sir.
No, all right. It's my understanding. All right. They were notified. All right. So let me, Miss Dancer, can you identify yourself for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Felicia Dantzler, Abra investigator.
And are you familiar with Villa Toscana?
Yes, sir.
And how are you familiar with this establishment?
I'm familiar because my supervisor, Mark Brashears, instructed me to go to the establishment after he received a complaint that the establishment was operating after hours. The music was loud and they were providing live entertainment in the form of female dancers.
All right. I see that, Mr. Brashears. Just Mr. Brashears, can you please identify yourself for the record also, too, please?
Supervisor Investigator Mark Brashears with Abra.
Thank you, sir. All right, so either you, Ms. Dancer, or Mr. Brashears, just tell us, we have a fact finding hearing because an incident occurred, on March 21st, 2021. So can you tell us, give us some information about what is it that you're able to find out? What occurred on March 7th, 2021, and how did Abra, how was this establishment brought to their attention?
Sure. So on March 7th, 2021, S.I. Brashears instructed me to go to Toscana Villa to see if the establishment, Villa Toscana, to see if the establishment was actually operating after hours. So S.I. Brashears, investigator Donnell Butler, and myself kind of like arrived at the establishment at the same time. So we arrived around 1:25 in the morning. The call for to Abra actually came in approximately 1:15 a.m. that morning. The establishments were supposed to be closed at that time at 10 p.m. according to the mayor's executive order. And so when S.I. Brashears reached the outer, if you look at Exhibit 2, which was taken the next day, early morning, S.I. Brashears and I, we pulled up in front of the establishment.
Hold on, Miss Dancer. Do you want me to ask Miss Andrews to give you an opportunity to share your screen? Do you want that?
Yes, that's fine.
Sure, Miss Andrews, can you give investigator the ability to share her screen, please?
Sure, stand by.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Dancer, you now have the rights to share your screen.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So at approximately 1:25 in the morning, we arrived at the establishment. If you look at exhibit number 2, which was taken the very next day, during the daytime, I took this photo myself. S.I. Brashears.
You need to share your screen, ma'am.
I did.
So we can see it. We don't have it in front of us, so at least we can see it.
Okay. I did hit share screen, so I'm unsure why it's not why you guys are not seeing it.
If you're unable to share your screen, that's fine. But as part of your testimony, you're saying if we look. So rather than say if we look, if you just describe what is it in Exhibit 2 that you're talking about. So just be descriptive of what it is that you're talking, rather than just say if we look at it.
Okay. So you're still you still can't see what I have on the
No
screen? Okay, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
I'm fine with it. You don't necessarily have to share your screen. You can just be more descriptive, please.
Okay. Okay. So with Exhibit 2, it shows the exterior of the establishment, and it would show that S.I. Brashears, Investigator Butler, and myself, we were standing on the outside of the gate. And so S.I. Brashears shined his shined his flashlight at the door. And at that point is when the ABC manager made his identity to us. What we did not realize was that the actual door of the establishment actually has a tint to it. So it looked like the establishment was dark on the inside, and it looked like they were closed. And so once he shines his light, that's when the ABC manager, Alex Larios, came outside. And so we engaged him, asked him questions. S.I. Brashears identified us as Abra investigators. Mr. Lario stated that the establishment was closed. And so I then asked him if he was the ABC manager. He admitted that he was. He then went through his wallet to give me his ABC manager's card. But what I believe what he was actually doing was actually stalling, because he kept saying that the establishment was closed and that they were actually cleaning up at the time. So I then asked Mr. Larios if he could just talk and walk. I told him, hey, look, we just needed to do a walkthrough. Once we do our walkthrough, then we'll be out of his way. And so Mr. Larios finally started stepping towards the entrance of the establishment. And so once we got to the door of the establishment, Mr. Larios stopped his forward motion, looked at us again, and stated that they were closed. There was no need for us to go inside. I repeated that we needed to go inside. Let us do this walkthrough and everything will be fine. So once we finally got him to agree, we went inside the establishment and it was dark on the inside. So I asked Mr. Larios if he could turn on some lights so we can do this walkthrough and then we'll be on our way. Mr. Larios was reluctant to do that. He finally turned on the lights. And if you look at exhibit number 3, you'll see this gentleman here was sitting in the dark once the lights came on. And you can also see this decorative table that's behind him. And so Mr. Larios was still adamant about allowing us to do a walkthrough. At that time, I said to him, I said, well, Mr. Larios, if I have to call MPD for assistance, then that's what we'll have to do. And Mr. Larios stated that, no, that's not necessary. You don't need to do that. But I didn't feel comfortable that Mr. Larios was being honest with us. So we believe that there were individuals who were still inside. So I called MPD for assistance. So MPD made their way on this at the establishment. So as we looked, once MPD got there, they started with their walkthrough. I stayed in the well of the establishment. And as you can see here in exhibit number 4, what we located was ladies' purses that was still at the establishment. Exhibit number 5 is part of that decorative table, and it shows that it had presents on the table. This picture here on exhibit number 5 is showing some chocolate covered strawberries that was there. This is exhibit number 6 that's also showing presents that were on the table. As you can see, the setup was still there. Exhibit number 8 is showing the contents that was inside of one of the presents. And exhibit number 9 is depicting a candle, as you can see, was lit. This is a picture that S.I. Brashears took. It also showing some limes that were cut up. And also, I saw that there were another lady's purse here in exhibit 10, as well as a bag. Inside the bag looked to be to-go containers. Also, here's another to-go container in exhibit number 11. And so investigator Butler assisted MPD with a walkthrough, and in the kitchen, he located the owner who was just leaning up against the wall inside the establishment. And the owner is Mr. Larios, Jose Larios. And I remember him from previous visits, and I knew that his English is not his first language. And so I didn't have much conversation with him. But as we continued our investigation, which with this exhibit here that's on the screen, exhibit number 12, this is investigator Butler holding up a sheer mesh ladies outer garment. Exhibit number 13 is showing, depicting a lady's purse. You can see the handle with the bag is sitting inside of the sink. And I believe this is a coat that's also draped. Also at the bottom of the base of the sink are assorted ladies' shoes. And exhibit number 14 depicts a prep station of limes. And so Mr. Larios, correction. I'm sorry, brief indulgence. I'm sorry, yes, Mr. Alex Larios was identified as the ABC manager, and he delayed our entry into the establishment. He provided misleading statements to me as I was investigating this matter. I did not hear any music inside the establishment, but the items that were left behind seemed like very important items to be leaving an establishment if they were not operating. And that concludes my testimony.
All right, thank you. You can close your screen, Ms. Dan, so I want to ask you some specific questions about your report.
Sure.
Unless, do you have anything you want to add, Mr. Bashir?
Yes, if I may, Chairperson.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So in addition to what Investigator Danzler has put forward, as she was speaking with the ABC manager while we were in front of the establishment, I looked to I heard the ABC manager say, "Let's go, let's go, let's go," as if he were trying to usher people to leave or move. And as Investigator Danzler was dealing with him, I looked to the right, I saw movement. 3 unidentified males came out of the alley next to the establishment and had like duffel bags. And they proceeded on out of the way and went along. And as Investigator Danzler stated, when we got inside, the refusal of the ABC manager to turn the lights on, we had to call MPD. I wasn't going to send investigators into, a situation like that. And it was clear to me that, as Investigator Danzler said, we were being stalled. As we got further in, as she pointed out in Exhibit 9, there was a dollar bill on the table, there was alcohol on the table, and looking at the purses, some of the desserts, edibles, things, I think the caller may have gotten it wrong. It appeared to me that it could have, the individuals that were leaving may have been male dancers, and the individuals who were after hours could have been females as a birthday party. But as Investigator Danzler stated, clearly the establishment did what they could to slow us up and impede our investigation.
Now, I'm sorry, what time was this again?
We arrived at 1:25 in the morning. And as Investigator Danzler stated, the front of the establishment, the windows in the front door are tinted, and at first glance, it appeared as though the establishment was closed. And when I aimed my flashlight, I could see an individual who I recognized as the ABC manager through the door. And as we did gain entry, there were small candles on the table. So it appeared as though they were operating inside by candlelight.
And what time was this establishment supposed to, I'm sorry, what date was this and what were the operating hours for this establishment that date?
This was March 7th.
Yes, it was a Saturday night for Sunday morning.
So what time were they supposed to close on March 7th?
10 p.m.
And this was at 1:25 a.m. once you gain entrance to the property approximately, right?
Yes, sir.
So approximately how long, you're stating that it appears that they were trying to delay your entrance. I know that Investigator Danzler said that you had to call the police. So about approximately how long did it take from the time that the ABRA investigator got to the property and when you had really true access to the property?
I would say it took us at least 5 minutes to get inside and probably another 10 minutes going back and forth with the ABC manager, trying to get him to turn the lights on.
Now, Mr. Bashir, how long have you been working for the agency?
7.5 years, sir.
Ms. Dancer, how long have you been working for the agency?
Approximately 14.
So either party. What is it that, based on your experience as an investigator, what is it you believe was going on here? Either party.
I believe it was a private party operating after the allowed hours. And we found, as Investigator Danzler provided, the bar was still set up. There was an open container of alcohol. It may have been winding down, but it appeared that they were operating in a covert manner after hours.
But outside of, you said that you heard there's 3 males that went through the alley, and I think that there was a picture of, there was someone who looked like a security guard that was sitting in the establishment. So you had all these women's purses. I mean, where the women? I mean, since you said, I'm just asking because we saw what was perceived as women's purses, although a man can have a purse, so that's just wrong with it. I'm just asking. You said that you saw 3 males, but from what the picture showed, there were women's purses. So I mean, who did these purses belong to? Did they belong to the establishment? Did someone leave them? And this is based on your experience as investigators.
Well, my experience would tell me that they did belong to patrons, and that the probability of 3 women leaving their purses behind, anything is possible, but the probability of that happening is kind of low. Mr. Larios, the ABC manager, while at the when we were at the gate, when he first made contact with us, he stood there at the gate. He had no intentions on unlocking the gate or opening the gate. It was just him just talking and trying to convince us to just be on our way. And so when we continue to move forward and say, hey, look, let's just do this walkthrough and you can be on your way, he gets to the door and stops again. And so that tells me that he had no intentions on letting us in while there were individuals on the inside.
But just want to correct the record. Outside of the ABC manager and this alleged and this person who was sitting in the dark, you only physically saw 2 people in the establishment. Is that correct?
3, sir, with the owner.
The owner. So the owner was their ABC manager and someone who appeared to be a security guard. Is that correct? Those are the 3 people that were seen in the establishment at 1:25 a.m.
Yes.
Yes. And what was also telling too, Chairman, is that whoever the celebration was for, they left behind their presents. They left behind the balloons, the edible arrangement, and I found that quite odd for the recipient just to leave, to leave the items behind.
I think it's my belief that they were either they went out the back door, or were hiding somewhere that we just didn't find them during the search. And then the ABC manager stated that he would take the purses and the belongings to the individuals. So I thought that was kind of odd that they would leave them behind and that he would deliver them.
All right, thank you. Do we have any questions by any board members of either investigator?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Mr. Short.
Yes, Mr. Short.
Yes, this is to either of the investigators. Is it possible that you can produce or know anything about the investigative history of this establishment?
We can yes, I don't have an independent recollection of why I had been at the establishment, but I've been at the establishment before. but we can produce the history as well.
Well, there's only, on the ABRA history, there's only one incident from March of 2020, and that's due to the fact that the establishment was renovated and closed, and it's a fairly new ABC establishment within the last few years.
Thank you,
Okay, thank you very much. If I'm allowed to just finish, Mr. Chair, I'd like to thank the investigators. I think they've done an excellent job providing information. Because when you spell it out like they've spelled it out, it gives the new board members and gives the public who are listening in an idea of what exactly they saw when they saw it, and what they, and thank you for your question, Mr. Chair, what their experience would have taught them about that particular night. Thank you both, investigators, and you did an excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Any other questions by any of the board members? All right, okay. Thank you, Investigator Dancer. Thank you, Supervisor Investigator Bashir. Thank you for your testimony today. It's unfortunate that the licensee, although they were given notice of this hearing, they did not inform the board. They had not informed the board that they would not be here today. So that's unfortunate. Just a last question. Do you know when was the last time that the agency had inspected this establishment?
I do not.
I do not either, Chairperson.
All right, okay. Thank you. All right. Hold on 1 minute, please. Okay. All right, well, thank you for your testimony today. It's been quite eye-opening, although I said before, although the licensee was not here, but it provided me a good idea of what was going on there, and I appreciate some of the questions that you answered were based on your experience as an investigator. What is it that you thought that was going there? And just one last question: would it? Now I want to say that. Anyway, thank you very much for your presentation today, and have a great day. Thank you very much. All right. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to try to run through the rest of the calendar. It's very short, so we can bring at least this portion of our day to an end. The next case on our calendar is case number 21 PRO 21 PRO 00004, Air Restaurant license number 117404, and this hearing is canceled due to submission of a settlement agreement for the board's consideration and approval. The next case in our calendar is case number 20 PRO 00027, Tiki on 18th, license number 112308. This hearing is canceled due to the submission of a settlement agreement for the board's consideration and approval. That ends our calendar for today. And I just want to briefly go over the calendar that was scheduled for Thursday, May 18th, 2021. And on our calendar for Thursday, May 13th, 2021, there was a protest hearing, case number 20 PRO 00053, DC Food Market, license number 106962. And this hearing is canceled due to the withdrawal of the class change application. So the one protest hearing that we have for tomorrow, April 13th, 2021, that case has been canceled. Then let's now return to our legal agenda for today. And the first item on our legal agenda for today is the review of a settlement agreement dated April 12th, 2021 between ANC 6D, and Delina DC, license number 117926. I make a motion that we approve the settlement agreement. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that's been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter on our legal agenda is a review of a settlement agreement dated April 12, 2021 between ANC 6D and Bistro de Jour, license number 117879. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that's been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter on our legal agenda is the review of Kick Axe Throw Socials letter dated May 4th, 2021, requesting a waiver to be allowed to offer seated axe throwing, bowling, and curling. This is Kick Axe Throw Social, license number 116454. I make a motion that we have a fact finding. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter on our legal agenda is a review of Finn McCool's request for reinstatement of license and continuation of safekeeping status. Finn McCool's license number 107078. I make a motion that we approve this request with the licensee being asked to pay out all outstanding fees. Is there a second?
Ed Grandis will second.
Mr. Grandis has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Mr. Grandis. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter is a review of a settlement agreement dated May 5th, 2021 between ANC Commissioner 1C, the Colorama Citizens Association, and Air Restaurant, license number 117404. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter is a review of the third amendment to the settlement agreement dated May 5th, 2021 between Advisory Neighborhood Commission 1C, the Colorama Citizen Association, and Tiki on 8th Street, license number 112308. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short, I second the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter on our legal agenda is a review of a settlement agreement dated April 12, 2021 between Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6C and on Port, license number 108135. I make a motion that we approve this matter. Is there a second?
Ed Grandis will second.
Mr. Grandis has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Edward Grandis, I agree.
and Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter on our legal agenda is a review of the Sandoval's Restaurants Lounge request for reinstatement of its canceled license. Sandovan Restaurant Lounge, license number 092705. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short, I second the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Edward Grandis, I agree.
and Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter is a review of a settlement agreement dated May 7th, 2021 between Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6C and Allure Lounge, license number 108303. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Edward Grandis, I agree.
and Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter on our agenda is a review of the settlement agreement dated April 25th, 2021 between Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6B and Select Whiskey, license number 117401. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ed
Crockett
Grandis,
seconds.
second.
Mr. Grandis has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Edward Grandis, I agree.
and Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next request is a review of Ibar Gardens of Eden's motion to reinstate its license and remove the license from safekeeping. Garden of Eden license number 083133. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Edward Grandis, I agree.
and Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. We now move to our licensing agenda. The first matter on our licensing agenda is a review request to extend safekeeping of license. This is Rodman's Discount Spirits, license number 108215. I make a motion that we grant this request through September 30th, 2021. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. We now move to our supplemental licensing agenda. The first matter on our supplemental licensing agenda is a review of an application for a stipulated letter with letter of agency support for a new ABC license. This is for Immigrant Food, license number 118085. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Edward Grandis, second.
Mr. Grandis has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Edward Grandis, I agree.
and Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter is a review request to withdraw application for class change to Class A liquor license. This is from DC Food Market, license number 106962. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. We now move to our vacate, cease, and desist orders agenda for Class A license. The ABC Board is vacating the following orders to cease and desist previously issued on April 21st, 2021. I'm going to read the names of the establishments, and once I read all the names of the establishments, and I'll make a motion that the ABC Board vacate these orders. The first establishment is Park Market, license number 094178. They did renew their license on May 5th, 2021. The next establishment is Sane Wine and Spirits, license number 107464. They renewed their license on May 7th, 2021. And the next establishment is Nopa Liquor, license number 1135867. They renewed their license on May 11th, 2021. I therefore make a motion that the ABC Board vacate the orders, the cease and desist orders for the establishments that were just read in the record. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that's been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
And Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. We now move to our cancellation agendas for Class A license. The ABC Board will be canceling the following license for the reasons outlined below. I'm going to read the names of the establishments and the reason why we're going to cancel license. At the end of the list, I will make a motion that the ABC Board cancel these licenses. So the first establishment is Target Liquor, license number 000434. The licensee did not renew its license. The next establishment is Circle Wine and Spirits, license number 080830. The licensee did not renew its license. The next establishment is District Still, license number 102521. The licensee did not renew its license. Next establishment is Local Vine, license number 103795. The licensee did not renew. The next establishment is Best Deals Wine, license number 104641. The licensee did not renew. Best One Liquors, license number 109545. The licensee did not renew. To be determined, formerly VD3 LLC, license number 108288. The licensee did not renew. And so therefore, those are the establishments. I make a motion that the ABC Board cancel these licenses that were just read in the record. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. We now move to our temporary one-day and substantial change docket for May 12, 2021. The first request, a request made by Lisa M. Hamilton. This is a one-day license class F. This is for a wedding on June 19th, 2021. The license number is 118239 with 62 attendees, 2 venue security guards. I make a motion that the board grants this one-day class F license. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion as been properly seconded by Mr. Short. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next request is a request made by Jesse Roush for a one-day license class G. This is for MRT Realty. The date of the event, May 14th, 21 through May 15th, 21, and also May 16th, 21. This is for 3 days. The license number is 118309. I make a motion that the board grants this one-day license Class G. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that's been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0-0. We now move to our final docket with the final agenda item. This is our docket. There are several items. There are 12 establishments on our docket. I will read the names of the establishments, the request that's been made, and at the end of the list, I will make a motion that the ABC board grants or approve the requests that are being made. The next request is a request made from the Jamal DuPont Hotel LLC, formerly Topaz Hotel, license number 115679. This is a retailer C hotel, trade name change application, Courtyard by Marriott, Washington, DC DuPont Circle. The next request, a request made by 647 Rooftop, license number 104008. This is a retailer C Tavern. This is a letter of request to reduce occupancy load from 475 to 99. The next request, a request made by Select Whiskey, license number 117401. This is a retailer A Internet. This is a new ABC license application. The next request, a request made by Bistro de Jour, license number 117879. This is a restaurant C, a new ABC license. The next request, a request made by Dawson's Market, license number 118293. They are retailer D restaurant. This is a transfer with sale application. The next request is a request made by Dawson's Market, license number 118295. This is their retailer B full service grocery. This is transfer with sale application. The next request, a request made by Main Event Caterers, license number 118173. They're caterers. It's a new ABC license application. The next request, a request made by Culture, license number 118175. They're retailer C Tavern. This is a transfer with sale application. The next request, a request made by formerly Enid Silva LLC, trade name to be determined, license number 117790. This is a retailer C Restaurant. This is a new ABC license application. The next request, a request made by Parkwood Porch, license number 117791. They are retailer C Tavern. This is a new ABC license application. The next request, a request made by Purple Onion Catering Company, license number 118322. They're a caterer. This is new ABC license application. The next request, a request made by Shinwari Grill, license number 117478. They're a retailer C restaurant. This is a new ABC license application. I therefore make a motion that ABC board grants the request for all the approve the request for all the establishments on the docket. Is there a second?
Ed Grandis will second.
Mr. Grandis to second the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that's been seconded by Mr. Grandis. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
And Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0-0. The ABC board has now come to the end of its agenda for the day. Also the agenda for tomorrow. That was the establishment that was on tomorrow's agenda. We have now done all the other agenda items, and so therefore I'm going to formally close the meeting. As chairperson of the Alcohol Beverage Control Board for the District of Columbia, in accordance with Title III, Chapter 405, Office of Open Government. I move that ABC Board hold a closed meeting on May 19th, 2021 for the purpose of discussing and hearing reports concerning ongoing or planned investigations of alleged criminal or civil misconduct or violations of law or regulations, and seeking legal advice from our legal counsel on the board's investigative agenda, legal agenda, and licensing agenda from May 19th, 2021, as published in the DC Registry on May 14th, 2021. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. I will now take a roll call vote on the motion before us now that it's been seconded. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. As it appears that the motion has passed 6-0, I hereby give notice that the ABC Board will hold this aforementioned closed meeting. Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, notice will also be posted on the ABC Board Hearing Room Bulletin Board, placed on electronic calendar and ABRA's website, and published in the DC Registry. Register in a timely manner as practical. I want to thank the board for its patience and understanding today for participating in this hearing. I also would like to thank the public for their participation in this hearing. And now we are adjourned for the day. I now request that the board return to executive session for further action. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.